Hello everyone, welcome to this video tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'm going to introduce a last technical indicator, LSP, in our release 1. So LSP stands for the lowest smooth price. Again, this indicator is only supported by our software. In addition, this indicators is still in the research progress by our team, so we still doing a lot of work on it. The reason I put this indicator in this tutorial is because they are gonna appear in the release 1 software. I'm just wondering if you guys feel strange what does that mean, so you need some of the information. So here it is, the video tutorial I've created here, so trying to explain this LSP indicator. Even though this indicator is still in the research progress, but it already provides some of the useful information, can help with your trade. So, okay, let's go straight into the application. Let me explain things. Here is could be much easier. All right, so let me just open any chart. Okay, so let's open up the PHP chart here. When you want to open the LSP indicators, so here's the last one, right? So LSP lowest smooth price indicator. As you can see, we have 3 stars behind it. That means this indicator is still in research or development status. We'll also welcome you to try to use it and just tell us what's the outcome or results you found for these indicators. So what is the indicator trying to do? Let me just explain it. When I click on that, as you can see, there is a line drawn here. There's a label say LSP OBV. So this indicator is trying to what it's trying to do is to using the statistic method called Loess smoothed, and it converts your OBV. Let's open up your OBV for now, unbalanced value. Convert it from your OBV to the chart of your stock, right? So instead of you looking at the OBV down here, right, you can see this lowest smoother price line chart looks exactly the same with your OBV line chart. Okay, exactly the same, but it's in a price scale. That's it. So why we're doing this is because sometimes it's very hard to identify some very little very tiny changes on this very small indicator canvas. But if we put this one in the price chart directly, as you can see here, you can see the divergence or convergence more clearly, right? As you can see, if I turn off this one, if I turn off this LSP, sometimes especially when people open a chart in a bar chart or candles chart, you barely notice there is divergence happening, right? So, and then a lot of people might not check the OBV all the time, but if you're using this indicator, you can actually move your unbalanced value indicator directly into your chart, right? So you can see some clearly divergence happening in here. Okay, let me just explain here. So as you can see, this period of time, if you focus on this LSP line, it actually is trading down, right? It's trading down, but the price is moving up. So, or maybe you can just flat, right? And here, as you can see, the price is trading much higher, but however, the LSP line is very so it's trading up, but in a much slower or flatter away, a mile away. It's not like that exaggerated, but it's just slightly going up. So you can quickly identify this kind of signals by using our LSP indicator. So even though I closed the OBV and just open up here, yes, you can clearly see this. All right, so there is one of the, again, we do have some configurations items here. So let me explain the first one at last. So the line width, same with other indicators. You can change it on the width. Also, you can change the color. So that's about it. And then the dash offset, of course, you can change that as well. So that's the configuration of regards to the drawing of this indicator. The first one, I have to explain more. As you can see, if you expand this thing, at the moment, we're doing the Loess smooth algorithm on the OBV, so that's we are drawing the OBV. But you can also change other type of indicator like RSI. The RSI will be put onto your chart as well. You can see those divergences clearly here, right? As you can see here, that's a divergence. Okay, here is another one. So you can see very obvious. You have the feeling by looking at the LSP line, the lowest smooth price indicator. You can easily identify the divergence. Sometimes a convergence, but the convergence, as I think you guys know, is a convergence much less common than divergence. Here's another one. So if you're using your RSI as well to yeah, so it's for you when you're doing the analysis, you can easily observe those kind of signals. Okay, so the same with the MACD. MACD here is a very obvious divergence. Also, you can use in this one. This is called the FSO. It's a full stochastic oscillator. This one doesn't really, because this one is exactly looks the same as if you open your FSO down here. As you can see, that's just pretty much the same pattern, right? So I'll explain why it's joined like that way. The last one is RSD, is our relative strength indicator DOLC. So you can pick up, for example, you can compare with the BHP with the the overall market. You can do this, but I don't recommend you to using this RSD too much, because we have a much better tool called relative strength indicator Mansfield. Give us much more clear information about outperform or underperform the overall market. Okay, so actually you can bring up multiple of them. Oops, sorry. If you can bring up your another LSP. You can give it different color, right? So let's just be let's clear that one. So this is OBV, because you can see the label. Meanwhile, let's bring up another one, which is our RSI, right? That's the RSI. We can also have an MACD. Okay, that's the MACD. But you see these prices, these values of these lines doesn't really matter. Because that's not the purpose of indicators. So the useful way is to observe those divergence. Okay, so in the same time, in the same chart, as you can see, this period of time, the MACD divergence, bearish divergence, also RSI, right? This is the white one, is RSI divergence, and also the OBV is slightly going up. That doesn't matter. And there's one another thing is very important here is um, this one is divergence as well. Basically, it's saying is keep weakening. This stock in the moment is creating lower low of the RSM, which means it's um, weakening compared with the overall market. So you have multiple information at the same screen. So this indicator can give you enough warning about this big fall, right? So it does some it yeah it it does give us some of the information, um, but yeah, that's all about this indicator. So the other thing is this indicator is actually calculated every day. So even though they look like here, but if it's tomorrow, because every day all the indicators are changing, right? The OBV value, your RSI value, your MACD value, and also your RSD value changes. So it's well because it's the stochastic way to calculate the things that need the samples. The samples is actually every day's closing price, this red line. So it will using the samples to recalculate this the lines, the indicator lines here. It might changes up and shift up and down, but but the trend will stay the same. Most accurate way to use it is because this type of algorithm requires uh, requires the indicator is not to be a oscillator type of indicator. What I mean is, as you can see, the RSI, MACD, right, and the FSO, they all have a range. It's not it's not like your share price from 0 to up unlimited. So actually they have a range. It have a 0 to 100, 0 minus 50, positive, those kind of ranges here because they are oscillator type of them. So when you're using those, be careful. It might be not very intuitive when you compare with your price line, your closing price line, but this LSP works perfectly well with OBV, okay, because the OBV on balance value, as you can see, is from 0 to up unlimited. It's a linear chart, right? So this indicator requires a linear input. It works for the oscillator type, but not as nice as linear. Also, our RSD is a linear type of indicator because it's from 0 to unlimited price maximum. So it's again works okay um, with the RSD as well, but doesn't give us much information from the RSD. I will focus on our. If you want to check the relative strength, I'll recommend you guys just stick with this relative strength Mansfield because this one is really useful. Okay. All right. To better explain it, what I mean is here I prepared another chart, which is the AMP. This chart has a dramatic price shifting, from a huge topping pattern and break it. We have a really bad solid downtrend for the past years. So if you're using our RSP indicator, can we using the OBV to observe this type of changes? So the first one I want to say is we have to always focus on the chart itself, because without looking at all these indicators, by looking at the chart, you can draw a resistance line, right? So that's very obvious here. So for this line here, and as you can see, this has a big scale of fake breakout, or also call it's a bull trap, and this bull trap have some kind of scale and forms a head and shoulders. The head and shoulders, I'm not sure you can observe that. I can just help you guys to get those shoulders out. As you can see, here is a shoulder, this header. This is perfect head and shoulder pattern. And you can also draw its neckline, you know, from here. So as be careful when you draw the neckline, not necessarily to be exactly price. It could be a little range. Um, any price resistance support, right? So it's a range. Okay, so here um, it breaks it breaks down here. Normally, for the people who understand that head shoulders power, once it breaks down, um, the neckline never trying to buy long from here, because that's a really bearish sign thing here. This is the first time it breaks down the neckline, right? So even though it tried multiple months trying to stand above the neckline again, and it fails, and finally it breaks down again, and this time it's totally get lost here. The prices fall huge. Okay, all right. So the LSP line, what I'm doing is just reflecting your OBV to the chart. As you can see, we knew this pattern, but the OBV line actually particularly very interesting in this period of time, in this rectangle. As you can see, the OBV line actually is moving slightly up, right? So it creates a fake impression that somebody will buying, and this one probably have more likely to breaks out. But just be careful if you see the OBV line, LSP OBV climbing up, if it doesn't create a higher high, some people might just, you know, I don't know how you guys use this one. So the OBV line, usually I also draw a trend line on that. So as you can see here is an up trend line here. It's pretty hard to, maybe from this point is better. Yeah, so this is perfect trend line on OBV. Once it breaks down from the OBV trend line, I'll have to be careful. And even though the OBV shows kind of strong, um, indicates this stock might just, you know, move up again. So once it breaks, you should sell, but we reflect this red bar, you should sell from here. Another information is, don't fool by some of the OBV sometimes. As you can see, if you're using the Mansfield compared with the XAO, which is overall market, as you can see, when this period of time, what is the RSM behave? As you can see, RSM stays below the zero line, which is underperform the market, even though this couple of weeks it looks like it's gonna, you know, break up, but unfortunately it's just a little tip on the green. If you untick that area drawing, as you can see, this is very weak behavior, so you don't want to buy in. So as you can see, the RSM gives us extra warning. So yeah, so that's what I'm trying to explain a little bit on this LSP. Even though you see this kind of things happening, don't be fooled about that. All right, let's just do the last one. I want to try to show you guys dynamically how I just said this indicator is calculated dynamically every day. What I'm going to do is to use a manual back testing mode. I'm going to explain that in great detail in later tutorials, but today I'm just going to show you how to do that. What I'm trying to do is just trying to move the time back to 2019, February 22. Okay, as you can see, if you're the opening mode setting, if you choose the manual backtesting setting and you pick up a date, so you will only show this chart, you know, on this date. When I turn it on, as you can see, I click on, I turn on the manual testing, as this little dollar sign will be enabled. Once I uncheck, this one is disabled. Because I want to do the manual testing, I turn it on. Okay, and then as you can see, I'm using an account. I have to use an account to do this type of back testing. So suppose the time is 2019. I'm trading A2 Milk, this particular share. Sorry, I haven't turned it on, so I have to turn it on and I open A2 Milk. Okay, as you can see, the A2 Milk time displayed from beginning to okay, I'll just try it again. Okay, we'll turn on the uh, manual backtesting mode. As you can see, the A2 Milk open start from the beginning to 2019 February 22nd. Okay, so if today is that day and LSP we open up that one, suppose as you can see, the LSP right now drawn like this. When I click, I'm not gonna do in the demo bind shot, but let me just take you, if you can move in the day, the week, this is a weekly chart, one bar is 1 week. Let me just quickly move this bar forward. As you can see, because your OBV, not LSDs, OBV. Meanwhile, I'm gonna open your OBV. It's pretty hard to observe the OBV's movement, right? But from here, it's exact rather it's tiny movement. When put it on the chart, you can quickly see the OBV creates previous high, price moving higher, OBV moving higher, but OBV doesn't create a new high. Okay, so as you can see, this line is drawn every day. It's moving accordingly for the OBV's doing. So what happened is price create a new high, and OBV reluctantly create new high. This is moving slightly a new high, almost equals same peak here, but the price down again. So that's the LSP OBV line. What are you seeing in the real time? Time keep moving on. As you can see, this one creates. Can you observe here? So price creates much higher price, but OBV is very lazy, stay the same, doesn't expect a new high. Yeah, okay. As time's going on, an OBV line changes. Still, it's as you can see, this shift up a little bit, but you can just ignore it in the real time. It doesn't really matter, but it's just reflecting the OBV movement in the price scale. Price happens from the so it's keep trying to break the new high. Okay, OBV still not catching up, even though the price moved like this. Okay, let's see what happened to OBV. It breaks a little bit from here, but still compared to previous one, no, it doesn't. So many people will probably buy in for now, but if you see this OBV line divergence, you be careful. You would rather to wait to see what will happen next. It tries another time. So once the price goes to like this, you can do some analysis on the chart. You can see this shares actually forming a rising widget. Okay, so here, but as you can see, the OBV is a falling widget, right? Like that. Well, maybe it's not a good example now, but yeah, let's just draw here. Okay, that's more clear. Even though that line will stay because every day it changes, right? Price trying to, let's get rid of these two lines, confusing people. Let's put back this this line here. Okay, let's keep doing that. So as you can see, this upper edge of this rising widget stops the price from going higher. OBV very flat. As you can see, the LSP OBV also reflecting exactly what the OBV is doing. And at the moment, if you see it from the OBV, it's it's very, it's not very clear, right? So you have to magnify this line. But if you see easily from this LSP line, it already tell you something. It breaks here, right? So it breaks down from this OBV trading range, and then it breaks down. So yeah, it's gonna be careful because OBV breaks. As you can see, price moving lower. Okay, so OBV, okay, looks like it breaks down the lower range of this trading range, the price. As you can see, the price breaking down from that trading range and falling further down. Okay, so I think that's the example. Because also I think in front here you already noticed that OBV is divergence, even this big scale divergence for this trading range. Let's just predict price moving higher, OBV is moving lower, so that tells something. This trading range is not worth a trade, so it breaks down. So yeah, if you see everything in a very tiny OBV changes, you couldn't observe clearly like this tiny changes. But if you're using LSP, that's the purpose of LSP. You can observe those actual information, and yeah. So I think that's the very good example to show you guys how this LSP doing in the day, in the in the runtime. So you can see in the real time, you can see what's happening, and this LSP is shifting up and down, but it's maintained a trend, and how it can observe it. So yeah, I think this information will really help you. You can still using this indicator even though it's still in research mode and development mode. So we're also doing some research on it. So if you could help some other extra valuable information, please let us know as well. That really helps this product to go in better. There's last thing I want to mention is the another one, which is TSP. Well, this is a trend spectrum, right? If you're doing the same trade like here, well, works pretty well when this underlying share is in a very good trend. So if you buy when the first trend turn green, and you sell when the first trend turn red. Oops, it's kind of here. And you buy again when it's turning green, and you sell when it's turning red, and you buy when the first turning green, and then you sell when it first turning red. As you can see, you can kind of grab lots of profit just looking at the trend spectrum. So the trend spectrum actually tells kind of precise information how this underlying trend is doing. When you see the trend spectrums, most of the time are green and yellow. Sorry, the green and blue. So that's so that means your trend is very strong and solid. But if you can see the green areas become less, and you can see when the underlying share security is doing the consolidation, and you can see all those spectrum becomes you know how we said mixed up. Sometimes mixed up is, so you lose your bigger area of the green status, and you go into this kind of consolidation, and once it's moved back in the normal status, the uptrend remains. So if you see the reds happening, be careful, that's the major corrections happening normally in the uptrend. Yeah, so that's the actual information about the trend spectrum. Basically, if you see those red happening, you want to know this distribution might happening. So normally you wouldn't expect a red in the uptrend It could be a good buying opportunity, but just be careful, just in case. Like here it is a real trend reversal to a downtrend, but in here it's a consolidation, so it's a correction. It's a good buy opportunity. So it's up to you by using other indicators and your background of this company and all this other information to determine, do you want to step in from here, or you think it's the trend is reversal. um, yeah, so actually little extra information about TSP indicator as well. Okay, I think I have got all in this video tutorial. I hope that all the information helps you in your trading. um, Thanks for your time to watching. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Bye for now.